Afternoon again, and welcome to the 29 December 1941 turn of the Wirraway versus Heclapar play-by-mail game of War in the Pacific, Admiral's Edition. Hope you're having a great weekend. Let's see if the forces of Imperial Japan have a good weekend. Last turn was quiet. Let's see if this turn is a bit more active. Mm. Oh, 19. Trying to catch the redeployment of the Kido Butai. Interesting. She sees the escorts, but she doesn't see the carriers themselves. Oh, this will be interesting. An amphibious task force withdrawing from southern Java runs into his torpedo boats. He has a couple of flotillas that he sent down that direction. And again, maybe potentially a different flotilla of torpedo boats. And again, got a pretty strong escort here. He lost 4 torpedo boats. Visibility is good. Both task force sighted each other at 10,000 yards. The torpedo boats are faster and gain the advantage. But the escorts did again. There's nothing on these transports. They've already offloaded. Um, Risk is pretty modest to the Japanese. So let's see what happens. More. Ooh, looks like the torpedo boats finally did something. They got in close and sank an APD and a valuable destroyer minesweeper, losing 2 of the number. 5,000 yards. That was a little less than I. It's 39 operating in Monado. My transports are picking up Special Naval Landing Force units for onward deployment in the Celebs. Osho escorting a task force, amphibious task force with an armor regiment to take Kandari. Looks okay. Just lost a truck overboard. That armor regiment, you may recall, is a bit under strength from E-40 dive bombing attacks at Ambon that destroyed one of the transports that was carrying it. A 20 sinks a patrol boat. Night turn was a little rough on the forces of Japan. You got to expect losses, but you don't have to enjoy them. I perhaps could have chosen a better egress route. Definitely could have chosen a better egress route, looking at it, for that task force leaving southern Java. Oh, finally get an air battle over Palembang. This was not likely to end well for the Dutch. This is good. He has Cap flying. Thought he might. Typical reaction. We bombed Palembang a turn or two before, 2 turns before. He responded with Cap. It didn't sweep, or the sweep didn't fly last turn, uh, but it did this time. So this is good. We need to trit his fighters because I don't want him to be able to escort the large number of admittedly obsolescent bombers, but nevertheless large number of bombers against my amphibious task forces, either those heading towards Samarang on Java or those reinforcing the beachhead at Palembang. So happy with this. It will. If he, let's see, combat summary isn't usually terribly accurate, but a significant number of Dutch fighters and Brits destroyed over Palembang. Let's see. I thought the fighters around 10,000 be bombed at 8 last time, and he likes to set his fighters 1 to 2,000 feet higher. So we swept above that, 15, but he had high cap all the way up at 25. Good tactics by him, but his low fighters caught by the sweeping zeros, and the high fighters just weren't able to deal with the more skilled and capable Japanese pilots and aircraft. Sweeping over our armor advance towards Anking. He hasn't so far, so here come the Bettys. Got some Oscar 1As on long range cap to help protect him. Looks like still pretty considerable number of buffaloes. So definitely a major effort by him. Looks like the Bettys get in and out without a ton of damage. Lost 2. Didn't see that in the air combat replay, but they might have been lost to flak. There will be more Bettys coming. He still has cap. Gonna lose some more Bettys. We'll see what the final losses are. So he definitely threw his Air Force into this. More sweeping zeros. They'll mop up the rest of that mob. Oscar 1As on long range cap are suffering a bit. That's okay. Sally's attempting to disrupt his forces ahead of our armor attack next turn. I should not have flown those Sonyas 2 turns in a row on that target. Sloppy. And again, sloppy 2 turns in a row on the same target for no real purpose. Begging to get jumped. The rest of the Sally's coming in. Terrain is ×3, but the Sally's are still hitting reasonably well. Come the Lilies. Lilies are quite fast. Don't expect much losses from the Lilies. Catching some of his units on the ground, his aircraft on the ground, which is good. The Lilies are probably nearly as fast as his fighters. That was the design intent. But of course, the Allied fighters got faster whip. But against these pre-war aircraft, they'll always do pretty well. Let's see what happens in the PM. Looks like my sub operating off. One of my submarines operating off the east coast of Australia has been sighted. KB has slipped past his submarine screen. He's continuing to hit my beachhead. Not worried about that. With most of his fighters destroyed this turn, we'll have air supremacy anytime we want it. C9 continues to operate in the mined port of Singapore. See? Armor is landed safely. Let's see if it's just a mop-up operation. Armored Car Company trying to deal with would-be partisan. River crossing at Loang. That's ooh, that's gonna be a slaughter. Oh yeah. According to the combat summary, little losses on my side, lots of losses on his side. The shock attack over the river, though, may have had significant consequences for the industry at Loang. We'll check it. We captured the industry around here largely intact. Bombardment just potentially to keep his eye on this avenue of approach. That he knows where I'm coming. Second company finally is defeated at Kavieng. My aircraft didn't fly in support, so let's see how the naval guards do by themselves. Oh yeah, they'll be able to take it. That's why I won't bother reinforcing. I think he's bombarding. See, my AV has dropped a bit. His attacks by aircraft are having some effect. Um, but the beachhead really only has to hold out another day or two, which it's more than capable of doing before reinforcements, the armor arrives. Tanks will be able to easily take Sundari next turn. He continues to bombard in the north. And again. Okay. Yeah, so the 59th Chinese Corps is a good corps. 55th and 77th are less good. Might be a bit of a tough fight. He doesn't have his full headquarters in there. With the Chinese, you can usually, though it's a stacking limit game, so you have to be careful. But having two echelons of headquarters and enough support for your core generally is helpful. Doesn't quite achieve that here. So we'll attack next turn with the armor. See how it goes. Not sure. What else could go wrong for my forces in Java other than losing that destroyer minesweeper and APD? Bit of annoying loss. And I could have been about that egress route. Definitely could have taken them further down here. Let's just double check and make sure there's nothing else damaged. Yep. So, invasion task force for Samarang is in position, well covered by two light carriers. These two task forces will merge and invade while the SNLFs continue to move on Sorbaja. So we'll cut off the southern part of the peninsula, take Sorbaja, make sure we have enough AA and aircraft to defend the oil there, and then advance up the coast. My transports are formed here to reinforce Palembang. My carriers are in place, and since we had a solid air battle over Palembang, where he lost, I suspect, quite a few fighters. Let's go ahead and check. Let's see what our aircraft losses look like today. Yeah, Allied air losses over 2-1. Buffs got slaughtered, mostly in the air. Do the math. Doesn't look like a lot of overcounting. Oscar 1A, interesting. My Oscars 1A suffered pretty heavily. Betty's 6. Could have been better, could have been worse. Demons, couple Oscar 1Cs to ops. I'm building about 120 1Cs now a month. I'm not worried about the 1A losses. Those aircraft have to be replaced relatively soon because they're barely useful. Okay, let's double check. Should be ready to start our invasion assault on Singapore. Continue advancing down the Malaya with the Thai units. We talked about it last video that he has Lasho very well defended, which is a good choice typically. And southwestern Burma is very lightly defended. The Imperial Guards will be ready to cross the river here in a few days, about 4 days, to take Bagu, secure Rangoon, turn off the automatic flow of supply into China. And he has not so far attempted to try to get supply into Rangoon that I've observed with, and it's been covered by naval search really since day one. China, we talked about this. Armor is ready. Just need to and order the. So we'll see how that first attack goes. Rest the armor if needed. See what happened at Loang. Oh, well, it's not clear from the rules, but anecdotal experience suggests that shock attacks tend to result in significantly higher odds of damage to the industry. That certainly occurred here. Could I have done it differently? Could have. Could have marched around after taking Otso. Spent a week or so marching around and perhaps taken that light industry and resources intact. Probably should have didn't continue to attack in here, trying to drive these enemy troops out of the Yellow River and this road. Again, though, our main attack is here. I wonder if Hmm. I meant to have Chungking reconned. I wonder if the weather was bad or if I failed to set it. But be interesting to see. And again, I got to cover King, but he could. The AVG has been sighted in China. He could operate the AVG out of Nanking and long range cap over his troops. We'll watch for that, see if he does, because that's been our main effort with our bombers for the last few days. Still has bombers at Changsha, which, according to intelligence, is not capable of offensive operations. So, need to check again our recon here, make sure we get eyes on Chungking and then Kang, because if the AVG is assembled in its entirety, it has more fighters, more frontline fighters than I have available with just a single Sentai of Oscar 1Cs. Interesting. I think it's time to bring some dive bombers into San Fernando and see if we can sink what's left of the Asiatic fleet, since he has little or no fighter cover and he's not leaving them in port. KB is vicinity double dub. It will, however, continue towards Trek. And we've begun our deception move aimed Johnson Island. And we've begun our supporting deception moves towards Baker Island, see if we can get his attention over here, assuming his carriers are operating off the east coast of Australia, though they very well may be off the west coast of Australia and looking for an opportunity to intervene in the West Indies. One of the reasons why we wanted to get this task force out of here and mop up here and get eyes further into the Timor Sea. But we do have Nels and Mavis operating out of southern Java, keeping an eye on the approaches to southern. And I think I'll probably flip this, let the Nels continue the search and move the Mavises out to Cocos Island to do. Okay. Well, that was the end of the 29th of December, 1941. So the next turn run will be for the 30th December. Be interesting to see about how the armor does in China. And might as well just check while we're here, by the way, see how much damage Betty's. 2 KIA, 1 MIA, 1 WIA, 2 MIA. Pretty good. I dilute these Betty units, by the way. May have already. They have some experienced pilots in them, and they have a lot of high, middle 60s. Pull some of when the game's beginning, these units are loaded with very experienced naval pilots. I pull them out and save them for the KBE. They're not needed for the typical missions I give my Bettys, which is mostly naval search and then offensive operations when their range is needed and their um, bomb load is needed and their fragility isn't a significant risk. Otherwise, Sallies do most of the work. My Sallies have been grounded by weather. Uh, haven't had much luck over the last few days hitting Singapore. Oh, might as well check and see how my Fifth Fleet operations are doing. They're just about in position again, not yet sighted. So thanks for joining, and we will talk again soon.